Hi, my name is Lisa Lapkoff, and for my final paper and presentation, I chose the article The Role of Vertical Wind Shear in Modulating Maximum Supercell Updraft Velocities by John M. Peters, Christopher J. Nowatarski, and Hugh Morrison, published in the Journal of Atmospheric Sciences. This article focuses on why supercell thunderstorms produce such powerful updrafts and how vertical wind shear influences storm intensity and structure. I chose this topic because I grew up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where tornado warnings and severe thunderstorms were a common part of spring and summer. Because of that, I've always been interested in how these storms develop and why some become so intense and dangerous. Supercell thunderstorms are some of the most strong and dangerous storms that occur in the atmosphere. They're capable of producing tornadoes, giant hail, intense rainfall, and extremely strong rotating updrafts. One of the major characteristics of supercells is that they form in environments with strong vertical wind shear. Vertical wind shear refers to changes in wind speed or direction with height in the atmosphere. This article focused on understanding how vertical wind shear affects the strength of supercell updrafts and why supercells are able to produce stronger vertical velocities than ordinary thunderstorms. Understanding these processes is really important because stronger updrafts are closely connected to severe weather forecasting and public safety. The main research question of the study was how vertical wind shear affects the maximum updraft velocities inside supercell thunderstorms. The researchers examined two major hypotheses. The first was called the dynamic hypothesis. This hypothesis suggested that the rotational pressure forces created by strong wind shear directly strengthen supercell updrafts through dynamic pressure accelerations. The second was the thermodynamic hypothesis. This hypothesis proposed that stronger wind shear increases storm inflow and creates wider updrafts that are less affected by entrainment and dilution from surrounding environmental air. Because the updrafts are wider, they're able to maintain greater buoyancy and stronger vertical velocities. The researchers wanted to determine which of these processes played the larger role in strengthening supercell thunderstorms. To investigate these ideas, the researchers used a series of numerical simulations with the Cloud Model 1, or CM1, the atmospheric model. The simulation systematically varied environmental conditions such as vertical wind shear, humidity, moisture, and convective available potential energy, also known as CAPE. CAPE is a measure of atmospheric instability and the amount of energy available for convection. The researchers created different storm environments using combinations of low-level shear, deep layer shear, moisture profiles, and instability in order to compare how storms developed under different atmospheric conditions. They tracked supercell updrafts and analyzed variables such as inflow speed, buoyancy, updraft width, and vertical velocity. These simulations allowed the researchers to isolate atmospheric processes that are difficult to observe directly in nature. One of the major findings of the study was that stronger vertical wind shear produced stronger storm inflow and wider updrafts. Figure 1, adapted from Figure 5 in the article, demonstrates the relationships between inflow updraft width, buoyancy, and vertical velocity. The figure shows that storms with stronger inflow generally developed wider updrafts. These wider updrafts were able to transport larger amounts of warm, moist air higher into the atmosphere without becoming diluted as quickly by surrounding dry air. Because of this, the storms maintained greater buoyancy and produced faster vertical velocities. These findings strongly supported the thermodynamic hypothesis because they showed how stronger wind shear indirectly strengthened supercell updrafts by improving storm structure and maintaining buoyancy. The researchers also found evidence supporting the dynamic hypothesis. Figure 2, adapted from Figure 10 in the article, compares the effects of dynamic pressure forcing and buoyancy forcing on supercell updraft velocities. The results showed that dynamic pressure accelerations associated with storm rotation did contribute to the stronger updraft velocities, especially in strongly sheared environments. However, the study also found that buoyancy remained one of the major controlling factors for maximum updraft intensity. Even when dynamic pressure forces enhanced the storms, the stronger updrafts still depended heavily on the amount of buoyancy maintained within the storm. Overall, the researchers concluded that both the dynamic and thermodynamic processes contribute to stronger supercell updrafts, although the thermodynamic processes related to inflow, entrainment reduction, and buoyancy played a particularly important role. The implications of this study are important because supercell thunderstorms are responsible for some of the most destructive severe weather events in the United States. Improving an understanding of updraft behavior can help improve forecasting models, warning systems, and severe weather prediction. The study also helps explain why some storms become extremely intense while others remain weaker, even when atmospheric instability is present. The article also demonstrates the importance of numerical modeling in atmospheric science. Many of the processes occurring inside supercells are difficult to observe directly in nature because of dangerous conditions and small-scale atmospheric interactions. Numerical simulations allow researchers to isolate specific atmospheric variables and better understand the interactions occurring inside storms.